Hi friends, this is Ray from Honeytop Bees. Thanks for joining me today. I'm a certified master beekeeper, and today I would like to help you with the number one question that new beekeepers come to me and ask. How and where do I set up my beehives? So I'm going to give you today 10 tips for perfect beehive placement. But I kind of want to say the word perfect in quotes, because there is no perfect beehive placement. The reality is even though I'm going to go through some optimal placement strategies for your beehive, there are a million acceptable beehive placement strategies. I mean, people keep bees on porches of apartment buildings. People keep bees on top of skyscrapers. There are bees that were kept on top of Notre Dame, and when it was on fire a few years ago, one of the concerns was, how do we get the bees off of the top of the cathedral? There are people that keep bees in swampy areas, in arid desert areas, in freezing cold northern climates, in hot tropical climates. There are people that keep bees in the woods. There are people that keep bees in the shade. I have an indoor beehive that is like the Taj Mahal here, of where you get to be in my apiary if you get to be inside, because it's a climate controlled room. Bees are very, very adaptable. So even though I'm going to be going through the 10 tips for a perfect beehive placement, these are just trying to move from acceptable to optimal, but please understand that acceptable works in so many cases. Oh, I can't tell you how many times beekeepers have come to me and says, well, the sun rises here and my trees are here, and they're trying to get me to help them to figure out where their bees are. And I understand the concern, but please understand that there are just a few things that you need to get right, but then the bees can really adapt significantly. I mean, after all, in the natural environment, bees live in all kinds of places, and sometimes it's under the hood of an old Chevy truck that's in someone's abandoned building. Sometimes it's in soffit, sometimes it's in trees, etc., and they're able to survive. So let's talk about the 10 tips for perfect bee placement, but please don't sweat it too much. The first thing I want to say is, because even though you want to not make a mistake of putting your bees in a harsher condition than they need to be in, at the end of the day, they probably are going to be adapt pretty good. So don't sweat it too much. All right, here we go. Number one, a level foundation. Lay a solid level foundation. Bees are going to build comb straight down using gravity. And if your hive is tilted to one way or the other way because the ground is not level underneath your bees, then that comb is going to be built tilted as well. Or they're going to even build the cells tilted more so that the honey won't run out of it. You might not know this about bees, but when they build the cells on the surface of the comb, they actually build them with just a straight tilt up on the bottom so that the honey does not run out of them. But if your hive is tilted, then they have to build that all the more. And then your comb can start to stick together, and it can really make a big mess. So have a level foundation. If you don't, you're going to run into messy cross comb, and just a big mess that you've got to clean up. So keep it level. Now, here's my other little kind of tip that I want to say about leveling your hives. I like to have my hives tilted forward just the slightest bit. Now, I'm not talking about doing anything like this. I'm talking about, if this is level, just tilt it forward. And here's why. If you have rain that blows into your hive during a heavy thunderstorm or something like that, and you don't have a screen bottom board on, that if your hive is tilted the other way to where the rain can actually flow into the hive, it can gather and make a big puddle on that bottom board and stay there for several days until it eventually absorbs into the wood, etc. And I've had a lot of bees die on the bottom board because water got in there. So if you have to cheat one way or another, cheat with the hive tilted forward just a little bit. Tip number 2, elevate your hive off of the ground. Now again, I'm just talking optimal. There are a lot of people that keep their bees right on the ground. There's a lot of people that keep their bees on pallets, just a few inches, 4 inches off of the ground on pallets. Commercial beekeepers do that all across the country, and they're very successful. However, if you want to do a little bit better job at deterring some pests, and if you'd like to make it easier on yourself, pro tip for sure, get your hive off the ground a little bit. It will keep you from having to bend all the way over and lift those heavy boxes down on the ground, or get on your hands and knees constantly. Now, for me, this is kind of a big deal because sometimes I do have back problems, so getting my hive up. Optimal, elevation, about 16 to 18 inches. This will also help with some pests like mice and skunks that might be going along the ground. It makes it a little bit more difficult for them. Can also make it a little bit more difficult for ants as well. But the main reason is just comfort for you as a beekeeper. Get your hive off of the ground a little bit if you can. There's a bunch of stands that are available on the market. I'll show you a few pictures here. This is one. This is a commercially available stand that you can purchase. I also just have a lot of stands that I've just made out of pressure treated 2x4s that I've screwed together real heavy duty. But probably my favorite hive stand is just 2 cinder blocks with a 4x4, 6-foot 4x4 running between the 2 cinder blocks. And here's why I like that. I put a hive on both ends that leaves me several feet in the middle. And when I'm inspecting those 2 hives, I can just take the boxes off and put them in between the hives. Tip number 3, try to keep your hives in a relatively dry place and off of like a swampy area. Now, again, you can probably make it work if you want, but you're gonna do better off if your bees are on dry ground. A lot of the pests, especially hive beetles, they really prefer moist ground over dry ground. So having a place where there's less moisture in the ground around your hives is going to be advantageous for you. Seek stable ground, not mushy ground, so that as your hive builds up in weight and that weight begins to build, that ground doesn't start to give way and your hive starts to tilt underneath it. So high and dry is the best way for as far as the ground underneath your hives. Face the sunrise. Tip number 4, face the sunrise. If you can have your hives point to where the sun hits them in the morning, that is optimal. That early morning sun gets your bees out of bed and says, hey, it's time to get to work, and really gets them stimulated in the morning. The other advantage for that is that in most places, the winds generally are going to come from the west or from the northwest, and so it kind of blocks the back of that hive from the winds just blowing right in. That's not too much of a big deal in the summer, but it can be a big deal when the winter comes, if that's the direction that the wind comes. Optimally, you want to have the morning sun hit your hives, and you want to have the wind, wherever you live, hit the back of your hives. That's optimal. But again, acceptable and optimal are 2 different things. Number 5, chase the sun, meaning here that if you can keep your hives predominantly in the sun, that's going to be advantageous as well. I always like to say it like this. They don't have to be in the sun all day long, but it's better for them to have more sun during the day than it is to have more shade. Now, that being said, I live in the Southeast. My optimal placement in my area of the country is going to be morning sun, mid-afternoon sun, but if I can find a way to where I can put my hives around 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon when it's July and August and it's over 100 here, to where the shade hits them, it really takes a lot of the stress off of the hive to keep that hive the right temperature that they wanted inside. So I like to have morning sun and late afternoon shade, if possible, where I live. But if you're in a place where it's a little bit cooler and you don't really have to deal with that extreme heat, then try to find a place where they're mostly in the sun during the day. Tip number 6, have a windbreak. A natural windbreak is better, but some beekeepers in the winter will provide a artificial windbreak, maybe some bales of hay or maybe a fence line or something like that in order to keep the wind from just blowing directly into your hives. This will really make a big difference. Now, we know that bees don't heat the whole box like we heat our house. They heat the cluster. But it makes a big difference when it's only 5, 10, 20 degrees outside and that cold wind is just blowing on them constantly. It's kind of like you. You don't want to leave your doors open in your house because it's really going to make it colder. Will you survive? Yes, you will, but it makes it heating up a lot more difficult. So it's the same kind of principle. So if you're able to do that, especially in the winter, provide some sort of a windbreak or set up your hives to where the wind isn't blowing directly on them during those cold winter months. That's ideal, optimal, but again, we're talking about acceptable versus optimal. Tip number 7 is provide a safe watering place. Now, if you don't provide a watering place for your bees, they will find water, and it's usually your neighbor's swimming pool. But if you're able to find a place to provide them with natural water, a river, a pond, a stream, something like that, even a mud hole will actually work for them pretty good. That's the best place for them. And if you don't have any of that around you, you do need to provide water for your bees. Setting out a pan with some rocks in it, a bird bath, just something to keep them from drowning, is ideal and optimal for your bees. This is very important. It's important in the springtime because they need the water to dilute the honey in order to feed it to the young larvae. It's important in the summer because not only do they use the water for themselves, they also use the water as a cooling system inside of the hive. So the bees need water year round. I keep some 5-gallon buckets of water around my apiary with just a floating device inside of them, a floating piece of, I don't know, I'll show you a picture of it here, so that the bees constantly have water. But they do need to have some water. And the thing you need to remember about bees is bees can't swim, but they don't know that they can't swim. And so lots of times you'll see them in the swimming pools trying to survive, etc. So provide them with some sort of safe way of drinking that water by putting some rocks, sticks, or something inside of that water source. Tip number 8 would be is if you have an option, put them as close as you can to foraging opportunities. So if you have a choice of where you put your beehives, the closer you can put them to some natural resources where they can collect pollen and nectar is going to be ideal. Now, bees will fly beyond your yard. And a lot of people say, well, what do I plant in my yard in order to feed my bees? And I just want to explain this a little bit more detail for you so that you don't end up being disappointed that your bees don't actually eat what you've provided for them. They will if it's the best food source, but they will fly right over whatever you plant for them if there's something that they prefer, even if it's farther away. And the other thing to remember is that most plants only provide pollen and nectar for a short period of time. Sometimes it's only several days to up to a couple of weeks. And so the bees are constantly needing new sources of flora in order to continue bringing in resources into the hive. So you don't really have to choose that. The bees will take care of it. They will fly about 2.5 miles in any direction, a radius of 2.5 miles around the hive, maximum about 5. Some people say 6 miles that they'll fly in diameter across the area that they're in order to find foraging materials. And, you know, sometimes the best thing that they find is an old tipped over Coke can, and that's where they'll go and send all the other bees to get something to eat. But if you have a choice, set them in such a place that they're going to have the most optimal food resources that you can possibly find for them. Tip number 9, keep your bees away from foot traffic as best you can. Now, the reason why this is important is sometimes during the year, the bees can be much more defensive than other times of the year. When the forage is on and the nectar flow is going, they're happy, they're distracted, and they're really not going to bother anybody. But when the dearth is on and there's all those older worker bees are in the hive, they get really protective over the resources. And sometimes even in the spring, the bees can be a little bit more protective because they're ready to go and there's nothing out there for them to eat. And so make sure you have some area around your hives to where children or people in your neighborhood, etc., are going to be safe. Now, recommended about a 20-foot barrier all the way around your hives from sidewalks and pets or active traffic, etc. This is for the bees as well because they need a little bit of an airspace. You don't want them to be running into you because you set the bees up right next to your back door. However, there are people that do that and it works out fine for them. Just be aware that if your hive turns more aggressive or something during the course of the season, that you're going to have to be prepared to deal with that. So ideally, try to have an area, a space around them, especially if you're setting your bees up in a backyard situation and you don't have a rural setting for your bees to be able to live. And lastly, tip number 10, you remember COVID and social distancing? Well, the bees need a little bit of social distancing as well. Now, again, most beekeepers don't follow this rule. It's really not a rule anyway. I shouldn't call it a rule, but they don't follow this. I know I don't follow this very ideally either. If we can set our bees farther apart, so let's say you lived on 3 acres and you'd only wanted 5 hives and you set it in the 4 corners of your acres and 1 in the middle, that's really the ideal situation if you can keep them 100 feet apart. Because you're going to have less drifting. Less drifting means that there's going to be less mites that are being transferred from hive to hive. And this can really help you out a lot with pest management. And it can also help you during robbing season, late summer, July, August, when the bees are looking for some sort of resources and all they can find is a weak hive. If the weak hive is right next door, then there's a greater chance that they're going to recognize that hive's weakness and try to rob and take over that hive, which can be a really nasty situation. The farther you can put your bees apart, the better. Now, I like to say if you can't put them 100 feet apart or you're not willing to because it's just too much work, I get it, because that's why I don't do it either. But I like to keep my beehives about 3 feet apart if at all possible. Yes, you can put them closer than that if you want, especially if you turn the entrances to different directions. Well, then you've actually created a little bit more space for them as far as their natural flight paths. But I like to keep mine about 3 feet apart. That does reduce drifting. You can also reduce drifting if you paint your beehives some different colors or put some sort of markers on them. I put these little hive numbers in color on the outside of my hives that will help the bees to kind of recognize their hive when they fly back, and that will help a little bit with drifting as well. But practicing some sort of distancing behind your hives is ideal, but again, it's acceptable if you can't do that and you need to put them right next to each other. That will work too, but you're probably gonna have a bigger problem with mites spreading from hive to hive. But at the end of the day, we probably gotta treat all of our hives for mites anyway, so does it make a huge difference? I don't know. So these are my 10 tips for hive placement in your apiary, no matter if you're getting started or whether you're adding a new hive and wanna have some tips on where to put them. Maybe you have some additional ideas of something maybe that you have learned over the years that is an optimal placement for your bees. Put that down in the comments. I would love to hear what you have, and certainly your contribution to the community would be welcome. So please tell us what you think about where you place your hives. Maybe even have a picture you want to post of a strange place that you put your bees, or tell a story about how you broke all 10 of these rules and your bees still knocked it out of the park. Any of that would certainly be welcome. Hey, I'm glad that you joined me today. I hope that you will like and subscribe to my channel. Every week I'm posting brand new content about bees and beekeeping, and I'd love to have you be a part of this community. Just hit the like and subscribe button down below and you'll be notified of my video that's coming out next week. Hey, this is Ray. I just wanted to say, if you are a brand new beekeeper and you've not yet taken a beekeeping course, check out my beekeeping course here at this website below. I have arranged the ultimate beekeeping course. I have over 43 lessons plus a bunch of bonus material, which probably brings the total lessons up to around 60 or 70 lessons. Completely organized, a reference tool for you as a new beekeeper to get started, and then also refer back to as you go on your beekeeping journey. Use my name, Ray, at checkout, and you'll get a nice generous discount. Thanks. God bless.